Welcome to Manifesting a Life. Do affirmations work for you? There was a time when I didn't think they worked for me, but I didn't realize at the time that I was using them incorrectly. So I'm going to give you 3 tips today that will help you with your affirmations. Now, the most important one is tip number 1. This one is that it has to be true. Now, I used to think that, okay, you're trying to talk yourself into this. You're trying to tell yourself that this is the way it is. You know, that I have $10 million. You know, I have $10 million, you know, and try to get the feeling, But it has to actually feel true. If it makes you feel anxious, worried, scared, any kind of negative feeling, it's not the right affirmation. It needs to be reworded. For example, if I tell you, you're lazy, you know, that makes you either feel bad or you're one of the people that can just blow something like that off. But if it makes you feel bad, the reason it makes you feel bad is because it's not true. What's going on is that you have a truth in your body. You know who you are deep down on the spiritual level, on the soul level. You know who you are. And when you let in this other idea that you are not who you are, those two vibrations butt heads, and that causes that discord, and that makes you not feel good. Now, when you say something that is truthful, I'm a loving, kind soul, that has a good feeling to it, and it fits who you really are deep down. And so that makes you feel much better. So it makes you feel good. So let's go back to that $10 million thing. If you say, I have $10 million, and it makes you feel a little bit anxious, a little bit worried, your mind starts going like, how am I going to get this? How am I going to get this? You know, that's not good. What you need to be doing is rewording it. To say something like, I am getting richer and richer every day, and my riches are showing up for me now. Now, the stronger the good feeling is, the good emotion, the better. When my son graduated from college with a degree in computer science, he didn't have a job. He did not look for a job before he graduated, which my husband and I kept trying to encourage him to do. But, you know, of course, parents don't really know anything. So he moved back home, and my husband and I were a little concerned because he didn't seem to be really looking too much. You know, we would quiz him every day about where he had looked and what was happening, and no action was really happening. He was looking, but not producing. You know, nothing was coming back to him. And so we would give him these pep talks, you know, try to talk him about it, because I knew this was going to be his first real job. He was a little bit nervous, a little scared. He really didn't know how to do this. You know, he was kind of at a loss. And so we'd give him these pep talks, and that would raise him up, and he'd be okay. Yeah, I can do this for a couple hours. And then he would be back to the way he was feeling before. And then finally, when he was getting close to being a year with us, we decided, okay, we got to get a little bit tougher on this, tough love, you know. So we got the pitchfork out and told him that, you know, you've been here for almost a year. We're going to start charging you rent. You know, if you're going to stick around with us, you know, we're going to have to charge you. You're going to have to bring some income into the house. Well, that didn't work too well either. So one day I went up and gave him another talk. This time I talked about affirmations. I gave him some examples of some affirmations that I thought might work for in his situation. And I told him, emphasized to him, that they needed to make him feel good. No anxiety whatsoever, just really good and uplifting. So he wrote out a few affirmations of his own. Then I told him, you need to be saying this about 3 times a day. And so he did. He took my advice. Wow. and then within 2 months, he had a job interview and a job offer that he took. And I asked him later, well, do you think the affirmation helped any? And he said, yeah, he thought it did. So they can be helpful, and they can be very useful. So that was tip number 1. It has to feel good. It's not a good affirmation if it doesn't feel good. Tip number 2, you've probably heard this one before, but I wanted to emphasize it. It needs to be in the now. in the present. It can't be something in the future, like I'm going to have this tomorrow, or when I retire, this is going to happen. It has to be now, in the present. If you state it's going to happen in the future, it's going to always be in the future. Remember the song, tomorrow, tomorrow, I'll think about it tomorrow, it's only a day away, or something like that. Tomorrow is always a day away. It never is today. It's always tomorrow. So do it now. Tip number 3. I bet you haven't heard of this one. If affirmations don't seem to be working for you, try Afformations. Little book of affirmations. The great little book of affirmations by Noah St. John and Denise Berard. I'll put a link down in the description. But this book, or I should say affirmations, are written on the principle that your mind is always searching for answers. It loves questions. It loves riddles. It's trying to figure out, how to make things work for you. So you give it a question, you reword your affirmation into a question. Now, I was actually using this without realizing it when I was trying to figure out what was going on with my asthma. I'll put a link down in the description on my asthma video also. But in that, I believed that if things could get worse and worse and worse, why could not they get better and better and better? And since your brain doesn't hear the not part of it, it heard, why can they get better and better? So it starts working on getting it better and better and better. So, and it did. A solution came to me. And I was able to get rid of my asthma. So I hope these 3 tips are helpful for you. Tip number 1, it has to be truthful. It has to feel truthful. It has to feel good. Tip number 2, must be in the present. Tip number 3, try asking it in a question format. Okay. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button. That's what it's there for. And subscribe if you haven't already. That really helps out the channel. Let me know if you have used affirmations and they have actually helped you out. Until next time, go out and manifest your life.